meeting is going to be conducted with a bit of formality because we want to move ahead quickly and not have a long meeting. I've invited Mr. Griggs to join us tonight. He is our ward councilman. Ward 8, Mr. Griggs, please stand up so everybody can see you. Okay. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Banger are here, over here. Thank you for coming. The first thing that I'd like to point out is that I think you have all received a letter that we submitted to the ombudsman. I've spoken with them twice already. They were very prompt in returning my call, and the letter has been delivered to them. It has been quickly reviewed, and it will be the 23rd of September before we have a definitive answer from them regarding the points in the letter. But I'd like to review them with you. Forego the salutation and go to the points. One, we have asked for a date and proof that the letter was sent to all Woodcroft 1 residents seeking input approval of a group home to be established at 1702 Kenwood Avenue. So I've been a resident of Woodcroft since 2012. To my knowledge, everyone who signed the petition, no one had received a letter regarding the intention of making a group home or extended care facility in Woodcroft 1. Date and proof that a letter was sent to all residents within 300 feet of 1702 Kenwood Avenue, seeking their approval of a plan to establish a group home. Again, I was within 300 feet, and I did not receive a letter. Date and proof of a letter being sent to all residents within 300 feet of 1702 Kenwood Avenue, asking for approval of a lot easement to erect a handicap ramp. I received a letter stating there was a request for an easement, but it did not state anything about a handicap ramp. Date and proof that an extended living facility plan was presented to the Planning Commission, and that Woodcroft 1 residents were given prior notice to such a hearing or meeting so that their input could be heard and dissent made known. Again, I did not receive a letter, and to my knowledge, not anyone within Woodcroft 1 received this letter. Date and proof that all building permits were pulled for the extensive renovations done to the interior of 1702 Kenwood Avenue, and that inspections followed each phase, and to my knowledge, no inspections have been done. Date and proof that a permit was pulled for the construction of a handicap ramp. I am asking residents who are willing to do some due diligence to also formally to go down to the building department and personally respectfully review all records so that we know exactly what was pulled, what was inspected, so that we know that this was all done above board. I'm going to say from a personal experience, I had never met Mrs. Sorensen before. I had seen Mr. Bankford in his car. Periodically, he would be there at the house, and I would say, "What are you moving in?" "Oh, she wants more things done." Never once did he ever indicate to me that this was going to be an extended living facility. This will change our zoning because now it becomes commercial, and it will evaluate our property. And we are very concerned about that as residents because we have really worked hard to bring our community up so that we can sell our homes or live in our homes knowing that they are holding their value. I'd like Mr. Griggs for you to first of all address this because we as residents are extremely concerned, and we'd like to know what you are going to do as our 8th Ward Councilman to help us resolve this issue.
Okay. Councilwoman Galloway, who's the president of the city council, called me last Wednesday. Yeah, last Wednesday. And she had the complaint from, I believe, Mr. Pfeiffer that who lives across the street from 1702 Kenwood about the ramp being built. Well, I checked into it,
Can you possibly move to the front and speak this way?
Okay, anyhow, I checked into it, and it was before the zoning board of appeals last year. And then, in checking with Mr. Ryder, all the building permits are in order. So, I know I've been through the same thing with my bed and breakfast over here on Bob Hill, a couple blocks that way, where according to the state and city laws, you have to have a residence there. Your residence is determined where you're registered to vote. I'm registered to vote in Ward 8. My other home is not in Ward 4, it's in Ward 6 in Mont Park. Now, that was the first home that my wife and I bought, I think it was 15 years ago. And then this other property came up on South Drive over here in Knob Hill, I believe it was 7 years ago, a little over 7. And then we worked over 2 years on it, put over $600,000 into it. It's increased the property values of our neighbors in Knob Hill subdivision because it's now listed as $755,000. It's not material to neighborhood. Matter of fact, we've been complimented quite a bit about what we put into that piece of property. I can understand why Mr. Sorensen did this because of the rules.
What are the rules?
The rules are that you have to have a resident. You have to declare that as your resident.
But she doesn't live there. How can you reside in one place as a residence and not live there?
If the city clerk was here, Inez Brown, she's explained this before the city council. It's where you are registered to vote.
And it's deceptive, isn't it interesting that we have a city of deception, of dishonesty? It's truly dishonest to say you reside someplace where you don't. Yes?
I wish all of our police had to live in Flint.
So that's beside the point.
Okay. That's another point.
You're the city councilman.
You have to take your mask off for a second,
Why?
so we can hear you.
Okay.
You're the city councilman for the entire, you're the city councilman for this entire neighborhood. But what you're doing right now, you're supporting one individual, not this entire body here. I have an issue with that. Because as the city councilman, you're supposed to be non-biased. But you are. When I walked in, you were supporting. When I walked in here, you were. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I've lived in this neighborhood for 19 years. So don't tell me what I'm supposed to be. What I'm saying to you, you don't care, because when I walked in here, you were telling us about what you have done. And because you did it, and that neighborhood allowed it, don't mean it was right.
No, it's by the law.
No, it's because it's what you want, and you supporting that instead of trying to listen to the residents as to what is good. We have children, grandchildren in this neighborhood that walk. We have no idea, and it was not done correctly, because I personally, when they bought the house, I asked you, where do you live? And you told me that you lived in the other area, whoever they are. Because I asked them. And they said they lived in the other. I said, well, why are you buying this house? Oh, well, we're buying this possibly to downsize. That's exactly what was said to me personally. Personally. Now, we have children who ride their bicycles, their tricycles. Families walk the neighborhood, and they're comfortable. I don't recall getting anything from the zoning commission that said they wanted to put this huge apparatus up. And you told people, Councilman Griggs, who don't live in the 8th Ward either, your house, because I have watched you come in and out in the morning go in and out at night because I wanted to make sure that I was right. You have a bed over there, but you sleep in the 6th ward. So you're out of, you're pressing the law. This is what you guys do, is you look for the loopholes in the law. And I stood before you before with the marijuana down there, house on Miller Road. And I told you the same thing. You don't live in the 8th ward, so you don't care about the 8th ward. Because you don't live here. You don't sleep here. Your children don't go to school here. Your grandchildren don't go to school here. You have nothing here, so you don't care. And then you're told, when I called the city council about trying to have a meeting, you know what you said? I'm sick of them. Yes, you did. You said, I'm sick of them calling about this, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. Subject closed. You closed the subject. You closed the subject.
That is a lie.
Yes, you did. You closed the subject.
Michelle? Hi, Diane.
My name is Michelle Egram, and I live on Lincoln Drive, and of course I know all of you. And I guess the thing that I'd like to show is, supposedly, Mr. and Mrs. Banker, you were supposed to notify everyone within 300 feet of the home, the plans to put in this group home. So we've had a neighbor that has blown up our subdivision, and we've done a drawing. And I'm gonna list off for you all the houses. There's 38 homes that should have been notified, so that we could all come together and all join together and all talk about what's going on in a public meeting. You should have notified the McHales at 2313. You should have notified 2301 Miller Road, 2225 Miller Road, 2217 Miller Road, 2209 Miller Road, 2201 Miller Road, 2119 Miller Road. You should have notified Woodward, 1801 Woodward, 1709 Woodward, and I'm sorry, I'm missing one of the numbers on Woodward. You should have notified Lincoln Drive, 1701 Lincoln Drive, 1717 Lincoln Drive, 1725 Lincoln Drive, 1811 Lincoln Drive, 1813 Lincoln Drive, 1821 Lincoln Drive. You should have notified Kenwood, 1815 Kenwood, 1801 Kenwood, 1802 Kenwood, 1718 Kenwood, 1701 Kenwood. You should have notified Colfax, 2223 Colfax, 2221 Colfax, 2222 Colfax, 2216 Colfax. Now I'm going to get on to Radcliffe. You should have notified Radcliffe, 2320 Radcliffe, 2314 Radcliffe, 2308 Radcliffe, 2302 Radcliffe, 2226 Radcliffe, 2220 Radcliffe, 2214 Radcliffe, 2208 Radcliffe, 2213 Radcliffe, 2307 Radcliffe, 2123 Radcliffe, 2119 Radcliffe. The thing that upsets me is I've been a neighbor for 25 years. 25 years. My husband will be a neighbor for 60 years. We are neighbors. This is a neighborhood. You are to include everyone. You are not exclusive. You are not above the law. And I understand
I
tonight.
object to that.
No, you're not above the
You're
law.
calling me against the law.
No,
You are
I'm not.
incorrect.
No,
The
sir, I'm
city
not.
did those notifications.
Then you should have called the
You're like, we
You are
can't.
misrepresenting.
No.
You are a because I can tell you straight up, we at 2222 Colfax did not receive any notification
The
about
city,
the
the
building there.
city is
You as
responsible
a
for the
neighbor should
notice.
have notified us, but I find it ironic that your wife did when she got on the planning committee is when you decided to make the changes to the building. Now, let's just be honest and fair. When you got appointed to the planning commission, all of a sudden, that's when we really started seeing the changes. So if you just want to be honest about this, and if you just want to be fair, why don't you ask every single one of us at those addresses if you did send out notification, because I can tell you, you did it. I don't care because you're not above the law. It's been stated. You find loopholes to do what you want to do. I've lived at 2222 Colfax since 2002. I was 15 years old. I've grown up there. I know everybody else's children, all the grandchildren that are there as well. And I find what you're doing reprehensible because I have lived near an aged home. I see when the hearses come they put bodies in the home. I've seen when the ambulances are called and they're blaring in the middle of the night to pick up and to rescue people and they're not on life support, but they're not dying. I'm talking about something that is serious, and I'm talking about something that's disturbing. And you did not take that into consideration. Why didn't you build it in your own ward where you live?
That's what I said.
That's what I want to know. But you came into our neighborhood when the prices were low. Before the water crisis, you stuck up a house that was a family house for a low cost, and you decided to make your changes daily. I have a problem with this because you chose our neighborhood, and you didn't choose the neighborhood that you live in. How would you feel if somebody put up the same thing next door to your house? But you know what? You probably don't care since you didn't dump my spouse anyway. You don't care about marriages. You don't care about husbands. You don't care about wives.
I'm not gonna sit here and be lynched. Now, you're gonna attack me.
You lynched us.
You know us. You don't
No, I
care.
didn't attack you.
You don't
I
care.
didn't have to attack you, Jerry.
Yes, you don't care.
The ombudsman is the perfect place to put this, because by my count, you're wrong on the law about 5 times.
Yes,
Okay?
very much so. You
No,
guys
then-
are off base. Way.
Send it to the
But
ombudsman.
you're,
It's
excuse
gotta
me,
be a
I've only
fair-
been here for a short amount of time. First time I met you, you told me about what was going on. You made it look like you lived in that house. I didn't know who you were. That you lived in this house and you were these nice people and people, you wanted to make it a home for elderly people. My assumption was that you were living in that home and that you were gonna have the
I
people
am
living
living in
in.
that home.
You do not. You do not. No, you do not.
You don't live there.
You do not live there.
What
You
is it?
misrepresented.
No,
No, she has
I
not.
live right across the street. You don't live there.
My point is, you
Let her
misrepresented
finish.
it,
Where
and
you
my
at?
trust factor for you right now is 0.
Okay, we don't
So
care.
I
Oh,
question.
you don't
wow.
care. We know that.
Well, first of all, is it gonna be licensed?
care.
Are you gonna properly maintain it? I'm not even sure, is that
No.
crap 88?
She said no. She said no.
Okay, you can't even answer me about that, because you don't know, because you're not following the rules.
Also,
That's what you're telling me.
Well, we have license.
what major nursing home are you
Oh,
all
no, 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 no.
Really,
That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything.
Well, excuse me.
Because there is error in law here.
Excuse me. Sit down, please.
No, you quit attacking me,
I'm not
please.
attacking.
She didn't. They are.
She's.
Yeah, we are.
You can hear me. Right there's the door. You control.
No, you controlling our
You don't
neighborhood.
live here. You're a liar.
I've been there for 6 months.
You're lying.
You're lying through your teeth. You have not.
You
only time
voted.
that
is reason
You
you don't-
voted for Greg's wife. You still live in the 6th. You are a liar. We
The
can
only
see
time-
your voting record. He
The only
just
time
got
you
through
show up at
saying
that house
your
is to
voting
walk your
record is where
dogs
you
and
live.
let them poop in the yard. You show up in the morning with the dogs, and then you let them go out in the yard, and you take a crap, and you pee in the darn yard, and then you get in your truck, and you leave, and you go back to
Absolutely.
your other house.
You do
I
not
live across the
sleep
street
there.
from you.
That's
I
right.
see it all the time.
That's right. That's right. Don't matter whether it's
So what
one
if it's
dog
one
or
dog?
two.
That's still what you do. You show up every day, then you walk your dogs, and you let them crap in the yard, and then you get back in your truck and you leave. You do that. You come there in the morning, or he's there. He may stay there at night for every other day,
So?
unless the dogs poop, and
She
then you
said
take off
so.
and you go back
The
to your
arrogance.
house and you can have a nice life over in the other ward.
The
You don't
arrogance.
care about that. You don't care about that
Hey,
house. You don't care
hey,
about
excuse me. Can I just ask one question? Probably two. By you being on the planning commission, and when this was brought to the planning commission, did you vote on this?
This didn't go to the plan.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It didn't go to the planning
No,
commission?
that's the problem. It did not
So-
go to the
so-
planning commission.
It went to the zoning.
Okay, so
What
are you
about
on the zoning?
permits?
Are you on the zoning?
No,
But
So
you're-
you didn't have anything to do with the votes
I
on it?
had nothing to do with it.
But the zoning did not notify us, and
That-
that by
Yes,
law
they
is
did.
required.
No, they
No,
did
they
not.
did not.
Okay, if they did, where is the paperwork? Because, yes, you do, because they have, and you're an attorney, they have to send it to you.
It's your house.
They have to send it
excuse
to
me,
you.
excuse me just for a second, right?
No,
Excuse me
you
just-
don't tell me to sit down.
hold on,
I'm
just-
70.
hold on, just for
You
a second.
don't tell
Hold
me
on
to
just for a
sit
second,
down.
Ms. Jones.
You
Ms.
need to
Jones.
calm it down.
Ms. Jones. Hey,
And
hey,
don't point your finger at me.
Enough.
hey, excuse
Enough.
me.
Don't point your
Can I finish?
finger at me.
Everybody calm
Can I
calm
finish?
down.
Could I just have
Everybody
one
just calm down.
Can I
Let
finish?
Bishop speak.
Can I just
Yes,
have one word?
ma'am, I will. Just a second, Bishop.
Can-
Everybody just calm down.
Can I
Look,
finish?
we're, listen.
Well, why did you call this meeting that? Did you think it wasn't gonna get like this,
No,
Michelle?
I was hoping it wouldn't.
Well,
be this
what do you
way.
think?
You the one starting it.
Lynn, Lynn,
Yes, it's mine.
It's not your neighborhood. You
Hey,
don't
hold on,
need to
Don.
sit
Don,
there.
Don.
Okay,
So-
everybody just calm down. Stop.
Michelle, Michelle.
Hey,
It's inappropriate. Yeah, Michelle, just speak to me. No, speak to my husband, don't speak to him.
Could not we use some civility?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I say.
Could not we use some civility and be civil?
Yes.
We have a right to disagree,
Yes.
but we don't have a right to disconnect. And when there is disconnection, there's no communication, arbitration, or mediation. We are citizen, grown people living in an area where we are opposed to something.
Yes, we are.
Let's be sensible and talk about it. We can't be screaming with each other. We are neighbors. Where's our civility? Whatever I said. So let's
listen to
look,
Biden.
whatever the sides are of the opposers, let's be civil with it.
hey, can I ask a question? Can I finish real quick? Just now hearing this, right? I want to know for sure if I heard you say that you haven't went in front of the zoning or the planning commission. All right, so I did a veteran housing, transitional housing for disabled veterans. And the first thing that I had to do, I went and got the permits first. Then I went to the planning commission for rezoning because I was putting a transitional housing with people with disability in a R1A residential area. So in order for me to put that in that area, I have to go in front of the planning commission. So if you all haven't went in front of the planning commission and got that house rezoned, you cannot use that house.
The house doesn't need to be rezoned. It wasn't a rezoning issue. It was a variance of the zoning code. It had nothing to do.
It had nothing to do with me putting any kind of home in there. It was the porch.
No, that's.
No. Listen. I did the zoning. I had to go all the way down to DC in order to get this zone because the planning commission would not allow me to do it. So trust me, you got to have it rezoned for one. Two, I had to go to MDHHS. If you have disability or disabled people in your home, are these people going to be where you have to bathe them? Are they going to be where you have to feed them? If you do, you have to go get a license. If you have 6 or more or whatever, because they have to be tended to. Are these disabled people going to have to be fed, bathed, or anything else? Do you know that answer right there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's no.
Oh, so that's a no. So if you do that, that is illegal.
There's no license.
No, you gotta have license. If listen, I did this. I do veteran housing. I do veteran transitional housing. They are disabled, substance abuse, mental disabled. I didn't have to get licensed if it was 6 and under because they were able to shave and feed and give themselves their own medication. My question to you, will these people be disabled to where you have to feed them or either bathe them or shave them or give them their medication? Will you have to have a nurse on the premises? Will you have to do all this? You're supposed to have all this written up and given to your neighbors before you even do this. So if you have not done that, you are not following.
What's everybody so excited about? I thought we were here over the porch.
No, you're here
No,
over
honey.
turning it into a disabled location.
Good try.
Excuse me, I'd like to speak on the neighbor. I actually signed up with the city and approved the variance report.
Thank you. And you did get notice, didn't you, Keith?
That's the only notice I got. I
That's
got
the only
notice
one
of the
that
report.
count.
That's fine.
But the variance
So,
was.
I just would like to, let's talk about the group home, okay? this has come to light now. I've done I got a Google foo on it, and there's Ultimate Care Incorporated, which is your company. You filed with Lara. You have a license, which is currently closed. The initial filing was for mentally disabled, but since then, the annual ones have been the type of business. No, I'm sorry, this is the business filing side of it. The business now says elder care. Okay? The porch, not a problem with the porch. I approved, I had to call the city to find out what actually was going on. It didn't say on there. And they said, you're gonna be a foot closer to the side. I don't care. So, the point on the porch, even though the letter kind of leans that way, that's not the issue. If you're putting a home in there, we're concerned about that. And we want to know, I'm just trying that everything can be done above board. I understand that from what I read on the zoning board, that you can be in a residential home with the elder home or assisted living home or whatever. I understand that. I didn't read anything about the notification, but I can tell you I didn't get it. I got a notification from the porch. Thought about it? Yeah, no problem. So, it's not about the porch, it's about the home. And because I see the business filings, that tells me that that's probably what the intention is, unless you change your mind. If it's nothing about the porch,
To our knowledge, we don't have a license. She doesn't have a license.
I don't.
there is a license out there,
Oh, okay.
and it's closed right now.
Right. If you could just stop. So I think it's a restart. And whatever's in the statute of law that calls for citizen input or notice will be done. We're not even doing that.
Okay. Well, then I think that's a very critical point.
Right.
Because people are thinking that it's already there.
No.
That's why, everybody's mad, because we want to be able to give our input, we want to move above board. We're not trolls, we're not mean. We just want to make sure we're following the law.
We, unfortunately, that house and some of the other houses are boarding.
What?
We're just doing everything by the numbers. It's her project, not mine.
Okay. So, it's not so much about the porch, but it's the whole side of it. You guys maybe have progressed down that, set up some things to do that, business, so on and so forth.
Whatever benchmarks there are, will be met.
Well, the thing is.
I don't have that statute.
I don't believe it means that.
Your 2 minutes are up.
Oh, sorry.
Please let your wife speak.
Hey, I'd like to be able to get time.
Marion Stella, I think where most of the emotion is coming from is the fact that we haven't been honest with people when we have and I think now that this has come to light, what the intention appears to be, that's, I believe, where the anger and distrust is coming from.
I understand. I'm the husband. It's not. I've been trying to get my house. You just speak up. I'm the husband. It's her project. I've been as non-committal about what's going on as anybody can be. I told a number of you I wanted to move into it. It's so nice. But I'm a 7th Ward resident. I'm registered to vote there. I've been there since 1994. There's a pandemic. I've spent half this year over there. That's her house. That's where she's registered to vote. That's where her stuff is. And I'll call out anybody who wants to call me a liar, but in another place. So that's where we're at. No,
You just said that you live there.
Oh, I did. But we want to be neighbors. I'll speak for her as much as I can. We want to be neighbors.
Let her speak for herself. It's her.
If it's her
idea.
project, let her know.
Yeah.
This gentleman here, his wife, I told her I was hoping I was going to live facility.
No, you
That
didn't.
is over 10 years ago.
No.
You
No,
can't
no, no,
hear
no,
me.
no.
I told you.
you that.
I think the ombudsman's office is a good place to put it, because where you're wrong on the law, a neutral party can tell you, and if there's things to be discussed, we'll discuss them. But we don't need to be attacked, because I've been obscure about it, because I'm the husband that needs to keep his nose out of it. She's been really straightforward.
Well, honestly,
Wait a minute.
for 2 points, actually, that's my mother.
I'm sorry.
But 10 years ago, no, he did not, I have a very vivid, not imagination, but I have a very vivid memory. At 34, I can quote and remember most of the conversation. He had never said that it was gonna be an assisted living facility to begin with, because if that was the case, 10 years ago, we would have rallied and fought too.
I don't know what your point is now.
The point,
You know,
She
like,
is really,
you can't stop it. You
I
can't
can't take
stop
her.
it. So
that's the problem that I have.
you're
can't
all
take
growing
her.
up,
I
you
can't
can't stop it.
William,
Okay,
I
have never spoken one word to you
but
ever
also,
before.
according to Lansing, if you go down to Lansing, if this is gonna be a group home for elderly care, if it's over 6 or 12 people, you must be connected to a major nursing facility, like either like McLaren or somebody else. Actually, no, that's true. When I Googled it, you have to be connected with a larger nursing home if you're going to be a subsection elderly care facility.
Okay.
Because it has to go through another nursing home group.
Okay.
And you can disagree with me if you want to, but that's what state law says.
Okay, I'm not gonna be a subsection eight, but I have never spoken a word to you before, sir.
But you won't, no. Then you just lied because you said you told me 10 years ago. I told you I was putting up with this.
I
said you and your wife.
Sorry,
That's
I
exactly
thought
what
it was
she
your
said.
wife, and I was referring to you as your household.
All right, Ed, you wanted to say something.
Well, I'm Ed Goggins from 2211 Colfax, and I don't usually get involved in things like this, but I was on the board of canvassers for 12 years, and there was 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and we had to verify the elections and what have you, and people would come in and they would discuss the elections, and I would always ask, can you point to the 2 Democrats and the 2 Republicans? They never got it right, because we worked as a group. We worked as a group, so. But what I'm wondering is, you say that before this project started, they had to have okay from the planning commission? Or the,
They have to
that,
have approval from the planning.
and you're saying that it's the planning commission that sent out the notifications?
Zoning board.
Zoning.
The zone. Well, then maybe you have recourse to complain to that organization for not doing their job.
Keith
Yeah,
got
that's one.
Mr.
I got one for the porch.
Yes, Andrews, Mr. Andrews got one for the porch.
And she named off all the numbers.
For the easement, it never said, we figured with the double French doors that they probably were gonna put a porch on, but there was nothing about a handicap ramp.
Thank
That is the only.
What's the problem with the handicap ramp?
You don't know what
I don't want an extended care facility in
What's the
my
matter with the
neighborhood.
handicap
You
ramp?
said it was a porch.
Well, as I was saying,
It has to be 88.
No, it does not.
but
No, it does
maybe
not.
city government failed you people by not doing what their job. And maybe the project may be,
No, I believe they did their job.
okay, you say all those numbers should have been notified, all those
Yes.
addresses.
Yes.
They're not.
Okay, well, check with them then. Check with.
No.
Somebody needs to check with
It's
them.
your place. You charge
Yes, I
them
paid
because
them
they
to do their
failed,
job.
they failed you.
No, you don't pay them.
You
You
don't
may,
pay
you
them.
may
You
lose,
don't
you
pay
may
the
lose your
zoning
project
commission.
because the city government.
You don't
didn't
pay
do
them, they
their
send it
job.
out. I done went through this so many times.
We're talking about this.
Relax, dude.
Oh,
So,
Don't make me relax.
she said relax.
and just one more thing, It's gonna be a group home. What type of a group are we talking about? Is grandpa gonna show up at my house at 4 in the morning with his butt showing, wondering where he's supposed to go? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna be in that house?
She just said she's not.
It hasn't been licensed? So we could have, convicts coming in from, the prison system?
Well, I mean, he could
No,
put
no,
him
wait a
in his
minute.
house. What's the issue?
But I'm-
I mean, when we are being so hypothetical,
What we're
they can do it in
talking
their
about-
house, they can do it in their house. Are we gonna call a meeting and lynch them?
Hey,
Maybe we just.
Bishop Jones just asked for civility, but her condescending attitude is what's firing up everybody else. You gotta, hey, Terry, you need to calm your wife down a couple of levels because they asking everybody to be cool and have civility, but by her condescending and demeaning and everything else that comes along with her response is what's cranking everybody else up. So please, can y'all?
Maybe a bit much.
She's a lot much.
Just all
No, everybody is.
Excuse me.
My name is Colonel Rainwater, and I live at 2667. My question, or our question to you here is, do you actually plan on opening assisted living home there, or nursing home there?
Not a nursing home, no.
What type of home is it going to be?
I haven't decided yet.
It was a bunch of old ladies would be sitting on the
You just might have led me down a different path here.
No, I'm saying, can't you answer that question? You should be able to answer that question for us.
No, I'm not gonna answer that question. There's nothing in the works at this time.
All right, then if it does, you go ahead and proceed with this. What about?
If I have to notify people, I will notify people.
I'm not asking that.
Okay.
I'm saying, what about parking?
I'm sorry?
What about parking? There's no parking there. If you do open up over there and you have the streets coming, that means our streets are gonna be inundated.
Hey, Don has had construction. Has anybody complained about that?
Construction is gonna be
Joe
done.
has had construction. Has anybody complained
It's gonna
about
be
that?
done. It's gonna be done here.
I have three lanes
You
of
know, I would
parking
love to ask, I'd
in
like
my
to ask a
driveway.
question from you.
I'm not worried about it.
With respect to both parties here.
Do you go down Radcliffe or do you go down?
Yes, I do.
Kenwood, you do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You're just right around the corner.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do about parking when people come to visit? That's gonna inundate the streets on both sides, people that are gonna be working there, but I'm sure if you're ready and patient, you're not gonna be able to stuff. So can you give us some answers on that?
Not gonna worry about it. I have.
Well, you know, we live there, so don't worry about it.
I understand, there's street parking in that neighborhood already. There's people parking on that street, in that area. There's no parking signs there.
Do you wanna live on a street where there's cars parked on both sides and you can't get around the corner?
I'm more urban, so streets, cars on the street is not a big deal.
I was in use, this is exactly what he was attached
All right. Is there anyone else who wants to say something?
Can I finish?
Yes.
This neighborhood is one of the nicest and vanishing neighborhoods in the city of Flint.
Right.
And it's the people that have lived there over the years, I might be one of the older ones, we've always fought to keep commercial business out of the neighborhood. I think when the neighborhood was designed, that was a rule that was in there. So it's one of the few remaining nice neighborhoods for the people of Flint, and we'd like to keep it that way. And when we hear group homes, or we hear assisted living and things like that, you're trying to change that. And we fought for it for years and years and years to keep it the way it is. And our values, our home values, we fight to keep them up. And people that say, well, I live in Ward 7, or I'm over here and there, but we're gonna put this lovely little place in your backyard, and you're gonna have to live with it. And that's why we're up and mad about this thing is because we need to protect what we've been protecting for years and years and years. And there's damn few neighborhoods like ours that are left in this town. So that's all I got to say.
Betty, she says it was she was notified that it was a porch. And that's what Sorensen said herself. And then the neighbor back here said that he was notified that they were gonna put up a porch.
Mine said
No.
an easement.
No, but she herself said porch. That is not a porch, that's a ramp. And there's a difference in a porch and a ramp. Let me finish before you say anything.
I was going to.
Okay, no, you were getting ready to talk. And I'm saying to you, you have misrepresented in every aspect. And even if it's a group home, there has to be green space for people to be able to go outside in a group home, whatever type of home that is, there needs to be outside area. There's no backyard to that house. There's no side yards to that house. Basically, all you have now, since you put the ramp up, is nothing but a sidewalk. That in itself is against the law. And you said, Mr. Bankert, that we needed to take this to the ombudsman. And I totally agree with that. Because if this is your wife, and you say you live in the 7th Ward, and that you voted in the 7th Ward, okay, then just common sense to me. This is my husband. We both vote in the 8th Ward. We both sleep in the same house. And I'm just trying to understand how you want common sense people to rationalize what you said. And what you did tell us, this is her project. Those are your words. This is her project. And when John called you out, because you initially said that was your primary resident, that you lived there
It's not
and
mentally ill
walked dogs
people.
every morning, or dogs, whichever one it is, John said no, because he had looked and seen your voting record. So all I'm saying to you guys today, if this had been done in a proper manner, if the neighborhood had had an opportunity to weigh in on the truth, then we could evaluate the truth. But even in here, it's been one vacillation after the other. So I'm just trying to understand, Mr. Bankert, why you vote in 7, and she says, I don't know whether she votes in 8 or not. But according to the planning commission that she's on, it says it was because she lived in the 8th Ward, and Mr. Griggs, our city councilman, is the one who recommended you for that position. I rest my case.
I was sought by several people on.
No, ma'am, the name was turned in, I've already checked it, by Mr.
My name
Griggs.
was turned in, yes, but I was.
By
sought my
Mr.
deposition.
Griggs, who does not live in 8th Ward either. Okay?
Is there any other comments?
Yeah, can I make one real quick?
No, I've got someone over here wants to speak.
All right.
Well, I think what we're looking for here is the truth.
That's right.
And I've known Lynn and Terry for a lot of years. And I've talked to Lynn and Terry when they started this project. And there were always, well, we haven't decided what we're gonna do yet. We might live there, or we might make a group home. And all along, I've said to Lynn and Terry, well, I don't think the neighbors, myself in particular, and my neighbors want to have a group home in this neighborhood.
That's
Well,
not
we
true.
might live there. We might live there. And we've gone back and forth for a couple of years now, whether you're gonna have a group home or whether you're gonna live there. But the bottom line is what these people are telling you, and as a person who escaped from a neighborhood that fell apart in 2008 and very luckily landed here, I don't want commercial business in my neighborhood. I think my neighbors are telling you, we don't want a commercial business in our neighborhood.
That's all we're saying.
And I think that's the truth that we have to deal with here is that I think that we're willing to go the mile to make sure that it doesn't happen. And I don't understand why you would want to bring a business like that in the middle of a place where no one wants it. Because I know that you have more character than that.
Well, why would you want all the neighbors upset? I mean, why, and I'm not, look, I'm not trying to get into an argument with you. I have been gracious to you, and you've been gracious to me from the very beginning when you first met. That isn't even true. No, it isn't. Wait, I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna make a comment. I'm gonna bring up two things. Number one, we've had over 8 houses that have sold at a very good rate this year. Very good rate, which is fabulous. We finally have movement in our subdivision of value, finally. I've got all 8 of them right here. Number two, I'd like to bring up, and if this goes through, this is gonna absolutely tank our values.
Yes,
I'm
it
just
will.
saying it right now.
Yes, it will.
It is
Yes,
true.
it will.
It is just gonna drop our.
But this is what I want to bring up to you. Wait a second, because I want everybody to hear this. The other night, our girls were out walking, who are seated, oh, they just left.
At the bar.
Our girls who are 18 and 21 were out walking. Lynn happened to be out walking with the dog. You can correct us if this is wrong. Because I'd like for them to actually, I'm sorry that they're not standing here, to confer what I'm saying, confirm what I'm saying. And when the girls were out walking, they were stopped by Lynn. And Lynn asked them what they were doing this summer, and they both said that they were in college. And she asked them if they both wanted a job at this facility.
It wasn't like that. The topic,
I'll tell you what.
The topic came up, but it wasn't.
I will
like
have
that.
them put it in writing.
That's fine.
And
Then, I mean, I did ask them, I know, I said, I would love for people from the neighborhood to work for me in my home. I didn't say, what are you doing, or what are you going to school for, you wanna work for me. It
Yes,
wasn't like
but
that.
listen, you talked to them, and
I
Lori
did.
told you she was
There's
not
nothing
right.
visit with them.
They're great girls.
They really are.
And Lizzie's now at Mott for her freshman year. But my concern is, you solicited my daughters to work, our daughters, to work at your facility, who are 19 and 21 years old, that do not have jobs, that are full-time students, that the only care they've ever given has been to my dad, to my mother-in-law, to my godfather. I'm allowed to be upset. Look, I have always been gracious to you, always. You can't tell me one time that I haven't waved, I haven't said hi. This is my family. This is my neighborhood. This is your neighborhood too.
No, it's
And
not,
you
because
better
she don't
enjoy
live
it.
here. No, it's not.
No, they don't live here.
That's right, so it's not their
But the
neighborhood.
problem is we cannot allow this nonsense in our neighborhood, ever, never.
Or to be
And I would
taught,
like you
stopping
to
little
nail
girls.
to make sure that you don't have it in our neighborhood. But the other problem I have is, I have a neighbor tonight who has been threatened and has been told that he needs to remove himself from this, or there will be consequences.
To his business.
To his business.
To his
To
business.
his home.
Because she
And
sits
now he's
on the
talking
board
about
that
moving out of
can
our
threaten
subdivision.
his business.
I'm not gonna have anyone threatened on my watch, because guess what? I'm head of security for the subdivision.
Who got threatened?
Doesn't matter.
You're trying to infer that we had something to do with it.
Well, somebody had something to do with it. That's why he's not here. I'm not gonna have my family threatened. I'm not gonna have this family threatened, this family threatened, this family. Put it out on Facebook. I'm not gonna have us threatened here, in this neighborhood or in any other neighborhood.
But you know what?
Well, listen, first of all, Terry, you were not invited. This was a closed meeting. Mr. Briggs,
He invited them.
you invited them, and you
Sure
put it
did.
out on Facebook. This was a conversation that was gonna be between us, the people that had signed the petition. I was gracious enough to let you in. I was gracious enough to hand you the letter. I would rather have you find out the letter from me than from someone else.
I appreciate that, and I think the recommendation is on point. This is an.
Well, we will continue, listen, we will go as far as we need to go, because you're dealing with a whole group of neighbors.
I would like to just,
We haven't violated any of us.
I would like to see a hand show of all of you who are willing to go the mile with us, because we are going to fight this. We're going to fight having an extended care facility in our neighborhood.
It's
Not
102
paying attention to the
houses
votes.
in the neighborhood. And out of 102 houses in the neighborhood, there are over 70 who are, right at 80, who have petitioned for you all not to do what you're doing. That's the whole neighborhood. And I'm gonna back you up. I talked to the gentleman myself. He said that he had his job, his company had been threatened. And he is even talking about selling his house and moving. And he said, you sit on the board. He's in hospice business. And he said, you sit on the hospice board, and that his business has been threatened and his family. And he just got through remodeling his house and said, I'm getting ready to put my house on the market for sale. Now that's.
But you know what this is?
Hold on just a minute. Billy?
I want to say this. For somebody who's been recommended and sits on the planning committee or who represents not just Woodcroft 1, Woodcroft 2, but the entire A ward, it does not look good for you to sit here and be argumentative and combative and to really stir up feelings when the majority, not the minority, when the majority of the neighborhood is against you for this. And it doesn't look good for you because it obviously says that, guess what? If I don't care, that breeds for more corruption and more people like you to be put in office that don't care about Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's all that it breeds. And then the other thing I want to know is that also, Councilman Griggs, you sat there and you've been silent. You've heard that the majority of the neighborhood is here. I heard what you said. You said, well, by the law, that everything according to what I've seen is in accordance with the plan, and I don't see a problem with it, that it rises the property value. You were talking about your bed and breakfast, but now we're talking about a facility. My problem is as an elected official of the Ward 8, I would think that you would side more with the majority than you would with one business. I want to know, what is your financial contribution? Are you connected into with Lynn Sorensen? I want to know because I find it interesting that technically you guys bought your house around the same time. I checked it up. The last time on North Street, the house was sold was about almost 10 years ago. You guys really bought your property at the same time. Now, you went on ahead and put in the bread and breakfast. They weren't really sure what they wanted to do with the house. But I'm going to say it again. I find it very interesting that the move officially began when you made the recommendation for her to sit on the planning committee for Ward 8. Then the mayor signed it in, put her on the planning committee.
That's right.
And we look up and we see a rat being built.
Not a
there's
board.
more open communication about this living facility. The problem is you are supposed to represent people, and you're not representing people. I don't know about your character because I don't know about you personal, but from what I have experienced here, I don't even want to know you, and I don't want to get to know you because, one, you lie, you're deceptive, and you're deceitful. And all of that breeds, and that's the problem with Flint now. That's the problem with the water prices, with over deception. That's the problem with the education, and the school system is falling apart because of deception. I'm tired of it. We were lied by one mayor, now we're getting lied to by people who are supposed to make a difference in our city and represent our ward and our neighborhood. You, again, it's a project. You don't live there. There's no memories. There's no cherishment. There's no family there. You don't know what it's like for when you put lights all over your home around Christmas and everybody comes and stops near your house because it looks so beautiful. You don't know what it's like to see the neighbors out working diligently in their yards, pulling weeds, planting flowers. You don't know what it's like to finally have Powers that was built and their kids run in our neighborhood. It makes things alive. You weren't there when our neighborhood died. You weren't there when we were struggling. You weren't there when people were, where we were being broken into, where we were being robbed, When her car was being vandalized, you weren't there. You don't care. And that's the problem that I have, is that you don't care. And the reason why I know you don't care is because you're sitting on your phone, looking at your phone, rather than being concerned by a citizen, a voting citizen. No, you don't have my point yet, because I'm not through talking. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
I want to respond to his attack on me. I didn't know Mr. Terry back when we bought it. Not no, that's 7 years ago. I don't know how long I've known y'all. 4 years? Maybe 3?
You put on the planning
And
commission.
I represent people on Ward 8 very well. I'm a high performer. You ask other my constituents, all the way down to Hemphill. Now, I go from Court down to Hemphill, in between Fenton and Van Slyke and Ballinger. Plus, I even attend or work at, go to GM. Also in Ward 8 is Bishop Airport. I'm in their meetings. So, you know, what do you want? You know, I am a good representative of Ward 8.
We want more. Because guess what?
What more do you want?
We want more than the city council. Because guess what?
We want you to represent every ward you live.
I work for the water crisis. And I can give you the Order! You would have been there at those pods watching those people who were broken out, giving out water and passing out water right along with them.
Okay, I just wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there. I do know because I worked at the pod 8.
Well, that doesn't mean that he wasn't involved.
Yeah, that's 4-8, and I know. Trust me, I know.
We're gonna have another we're gonna have a closed meeting of the neighborhood soon.
Yes. Councilman Mays is here, he wants to say a few words.
I appreciate the opportunity. I'm hearing it from the closed meeting, and I apologize. I've been doing man in there a long time, even before I was a councilman. I probably still was my. So the point is this: when I listen to the mechanics of the law, the zoning and ordinance, first let me ask a question. Did the zoning board grant a variance?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a question about the notices that were sent out. That could be a problem. Let me say this. If you live in a residential house, that is a fact, you check it out. You can only use 25% of your residence as a business. That's the problem I got with this bed and breakfast. Listen to me. If you live in a residential house, this ordinance was amended back when Woodrow Stanley was on the council, and it ain't changed. If you got your residence, and you saying it's your residence, only 25% or less can be used as a business. So, if I was gonna make a point of this, I would say to Ms. Sorensen, I would say to Mr. Briggs, anybody, did you say that it was your residence? If it is, then the zoning board of appeals might have very well flawed, because they would give a variance, which they might not can do, for more than 25% of a residence to be a business. So you check behind me and see if the ordinance or the law in the city of Plant only allows 25% of a residence to be a business. I will. Let me say
Bed and
that.
breakfast is not on business.
Well, I said,
You need to check it out.
we'll check it out, but I'm gonna check it out formally. Now let me check this, let me say this. Not to argue, I'm just stating some facts. Now, if that's true, why is they letting these residential houses be more than 25%? Can I open a store in my house in every room? Can I do business if it's more than 25%? Somebody might be overlooking that. Now, let's get to the law. If the majority of residents, because I had one come up in my ward, and I went to the planning commission myself, that's why I'm listening. why didn't this have to get notices sent out and go before the planning commission? Now, whether it do or don't, we'll find out later. But guess who makes those local laws? Me, other council people, and whatever. We can enact emergency orders that take effect immediately. If I looked at a community that wanted to preserve, and I'm the local lawmaker, I'm gonna make a law. I'm gonna propose a law and block it and see how many people vote with it. This guy wanted to say something. I was about done. Maybe.
I would just like to point something out. Maybe could I ask you a question?
Sure.
Variance you were granted.
I'm sorry?
The variance you were granted from zoning
Right.
was the porch.
Correct.
There has been no variance for any assisted living. I don't even know if you have to do that.
No, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
Yes, you
It's
do.
important to know that.
Yes, you do.
Variance, and I'm just going by the law here.
She's got to do that.
Change the zone, price take the.
She got to change the zoning for
For
that.
the porch home, nothing for the
Ramp.
assisted living home, but
But now, this is the point I made. If you gonna say you live there, you vote there, and you sit on a board or a council there, you done claimed it to be a residence, yours.
I love it.
I'm saying 25% of your residents in the city of Clinton can't be a business. It can be 25% or less. I don't care if the zoning board, the owning board, the planning commission, they shouldn't be granting it, and they overlooking the 25% or less rule that you can't do a business in a home unless it's 25% or less.
Period.
Now, when Mr. Bankert says the ombudsman, to me, the ombudsman is too slow. The council and others can call an immediate investigative hearing. They can call a special meeting. My question to Mr. Griggs, and then I will kind of get out the way and leave because it was a closed meeting, and you know I'm controversial. So my thing to Mr. Griggs, if you see this many residents concerned, it takes 2 or more council people to call a special meeting to address concerns, to make law, to do what's in the will of the people. I'm willing to call a special meeting on this, and we can get to the bottom of it. Somebody can't have it both ways. Somebody got to give up that precedent and not be on the planning commission. But if you're applying for it to be more than 25%, it's a problem.
Okay, the question is, Mr. Griggs, are you willing to go along with the councilman here and call a special meeting
On this issue.
on this issue?
Whoa!
What did he say? What did he say?
He said no.
You know why he said no? Because he did it last year.
Okay.
Hold on.
We have some rules we're gonna follow. Even Terry has suggested that this go before the ombudsman. I say that you do that and you call this meeting to be adjourned until we hear from them.
Well,
This is enough.
No, or the
the
special
thing is,
election.
we're gonna do what the majority wants, so if Mr. Griggs is not willing to call the meeting, we'll get another councilman to do it.
That's right.
We will get another councilman because we need to have a special meeting of the commission, our commissioners for the city, councilman, and have this reviewed. We are against it, and we will not just lie down.
Hey, excuse me.
Betty,
Before
also,
you,
no permits have, we do know for a fact that no permits have been pulled to change the complexity of that house. When the windows were changed to double doors, and I also checked with the permits, they came out, they had called to say they wanted to come and see the inside of the house. They had agreed, but they never showed, but if you live there, then you would have been there when they came. John has been working on houses and there's permits all on the windows. There are no permits and there have been multiple changes to the inside of the dwellings. So they are not in compliance with the city when it comes to pulling the permits. We've already checked, and if you pulled them, you did it today.
Hey, excuse me, real quick. Like I said, I have done a veteran housing. One, you got to have an architect come out there. If you didn't change the inside of the house, before you put the drywall up, you got to bring the electrician out. You got to show where you didn't change the plugs if you didn't done that. Plus, the doors have to be redone if you're going to put a group home. They have to be ADA approved or bearing. 4, you got to have a sprinkler system because you're going to turn it into a group home. 5, if you have an upstairs, you got to put a door and a stairwell on the outside. So this is what I'm saying to you. If they don't want to change and Councilman Griggs don't want to help you, you make their life a living hell and you make them spend every single dime. If they didn't change something, because we was just working on the house and we put up the drywall and we didn't allow them to come out to see the fire stoppers, it's something like fire stop. We had to, no, fire stop, it's these little boards before you put the drywall up. We had to tear down every single piece of that drywall because we didn't get inspected. If they didn't change anything in that house without a permit, start right there. Before you start asking for counsel, I call HUD myself because I know who to talk to. I will get you documentation. I will do the research for you. I have a lot of documentation left. You make their lives a living hell, and along with Councilman Griggs, you vote him out because election is coming up. So it's a lot of different ways to do this, and you can do it respectfully, and you can do it quietly and methodically. You make it count, and you make them spend every single dime out of their pocket because this is not right. If you see a lot of people that do not want this, and Mr. Griggs, shame on you, where you have all these people here from the residence area, from the area.
Shame on you for acting
You have
discharge.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you for not allowing the people, not allowing you.
You sit there and brag about
Hey, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you for not allowing people. Shame on you. Shame on you for not allowing, for not going with the people. Hey everybody, here's my military card. All right.
It's going to be a private meeting for the people that signed the petition. We're asking the Mrs. Banker to please leave and everyone else to please leave so that our group can talk and we can figure out what we're going to do next. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, he probably drunk right now, drunk Santa, y'all.
Okay.
See you later, drunk Santa. Hey, y'all, this drunk Santa right here. Santa Claus. Hey, y'all, it's a bar up there. He might end up stopping up there. Call the police and report him. He probably drunk right now, drunk driving. He's leaving. Hey, he's leaving right now, y'all. He's leaving right now. Hey, he's leaving right now. He's leaving right now, drunk man. Hey, Griggs. Hey, Griggs.
You know what? That's what we used to do with her husband. We used to come over to prayer. And you know what? How Jim upset me on it. Oh,
My wife who worked in group home, she made it.
yeah, but see, the thing that got me was her arrogance. Her arrogance and her sense of lies. She was so arrogant about it. Oh, well, okay. But you see, they couldn't say nothing. But she went up and said, you can't stop it. That's what she said. Yeah. Can you believe that?
He would not. You said no.
No, he would not. I'm trying to help him.
No, he's an idiot.
What is she doing back there?
I gotta get Mrs. Spencer. Everything that's going here. Get them intelligent comments, though.